All right, so we are, let me turn my computer charger on. Hey, grand morning. Um, we are almost finished with this 8-week training, and I'm so very proud of you. Um, I think that this is going to be a really good week because you get an opportunity to catch up. You get an opportunity to focus on an area that is most meaningful to you right now. However, I do want to encourage you to go through every section and get clear at least around one concept, for each section. So, one ideal client, one particular service, one pricing strategy. And the benefit to that is that you don't start to spread yourself so thin based upon all of the great ideas that you're going to have in your business. And that's just one thing that I know is a good practice, but it is so difficult to manage because we naturally feel inclined to do something about everything that we're capable of impacting. And I've had to learn that over the years in building my business that I am not supposed to do everything. And then you hear ideas like the riches is in the niches. And you may believe it, you may subscribe to it, but then you're doing all these things. You don't have one niche market. You're trying to serve everybody. And it's a common entrepreneurial trial and error. You know, you probably have to go through it to feel it and then have your own understanding of how you want to manage it. But it is a good best practice for me to share with you up front so that you at least know you've heard this, right? And from someone who has been successfully running a practice, I think had I adopted that just so much sooner, I could have hit things out of the park a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot more effectively. So I wanted to just take some time to see where we are. Let's do a brief recap, and then we're going to shift into whatever questions and comments that you have. Again, no new material has been released this week. So we've discussed mindsets, fears, and goals, and the reasons why you're not starting a practice. And those are fear-based. So fear, lack of action, lack of support. And then we talked about the goals that you have for your practice and how you want to show up. And this is so important because I wanted to create a training that kept your lifestyle front and center. You know, as entrepreneurs, we're told that everything's hard, difficult, um, that there's sacrifice. And there's all of that. However, I also realize I don't want to create another job for myself. So, how do I build without creating another job for myself? And I had to build with goals around my lifestyle. I had to build with goals that were important to my personal, professional, and profit. And so that's an area you covered early on in week 2. Week 3, we covered why you're qualified. And again, as you come out of goal setting and you start to think very ambitiously about what you're building, it's exciting, and it's a rush because you're qualified you've got great ideas, you know who you want to work with, but then the rubber meets the road and you start to think about, well, how am I going to reach them? And what are they going to say when they meet me? What kinds of questions are they going to ask? What about that other coach that's out there who's been doing this longer, who has more expertise, who has more experience? How am I going to compete with them for the clients that I want to work with? Then we start to doubt ourselves and we start to engage negative thinking and head trash and doubt. So I wanted to cover why you're qualified and how you will serve and what that means for who you're going to serve, because there's no one like you. You are uniquely and divinely created to show up in your purpose in this way that cannot be modeled or imitated by anyone else, even if they do what you do. We all do similar work and we're very different. And so that's a reminder to you to pull out all of your strengths, accomplishments, milestones, goals accomplished, that awards, recognitions, licensing, credentials, experiences that make you you. And sometimes our clients really don't care about any of that. They don't ask, well, what have you accomplished? Where did you go to school? How many degrees do you have? What certifications do you have? Some do, and that is a very small population. And they're typically prompted by something to do that, to ask you that. So aside from that, I've realized it's us feeding ourselves these thoughts around not being qualified. So that exercise becomes a great way for you to build confidence as you're building your practice, to always remind yourself what you're good at, why you're qualified, the investment you've made into your career, into your journey. And again, your client is not going through that. Your client didn't sit for the AFC, the FFC, the CFP. Your client is not in a training around how to improve their finances until they meet you and go through your training. You see what I'm saying? So we got to always remember that we're more qualified than 90% of the people that we'll ever meet and work with respect to our expertise and our profession. And that is why people will need you, because you invest time and resources into becoming more and more professional, more and more educated, and more skilled in ways that they will never do. And the value you'll add as a result of coming into their life is a direct result of those investments. And you should be properly paid for that. So that is what week 3 was all about. And then to help you identify that those streams of income that you can build within your practice. And we covered 13 to 14 different streams, different ways that you can be creative around generating income in your practice. Then we talked about who you will serve and identifying the ideal client by understanding and researching their demographics, their psychographics of the individual and the institution. Institutions meaning businesses, for-profit, nonprofit, companies, organizations, associations, school districts, churches, you know, the list goes on and on. You can work with anyone. You simply have to find your in. Then we talked about how to market to those clients. You know, you've got examples of documents that I use to market to my individual clients. I'm actually going to upload a few more flyers and creative material as well, so you can see that. And understanding that, there's the traditional marketing, there's the social media, and there's things that we've got to remember to do locally that will impact your local market. I recently attended a conference last year, FinCon, and FinCon's great. It's full of great people, great content, great information. And the thing that struck me the most was the idea that I am overlooking my local market. I am overlooking the people right in my backyard who could benefit from me targeting them, for me being intentional with my marketing to them. And so don't forget that. Don't forget that there are people right in your backyard with whom you can help. Okay, so that brings us to our last week, which was around how to get paid. And we talked about the profitable ways to get paid in your practice, which is by value and by figure. And I broke that down for you so you can understand that we're not being paid by the hour. Even though we use the calculation from billable hours to help us understand how much time we're going to have with clients, how much time we're going to have in our practice, and then from that amount of hours, deciding on what an hourly rate would be, could be, and then from there, understanding value on top of that. If this is the hourly rate, okay, great, but that's not going to sustain me. So where's the value? How do I add value to this? And that's where you begin to create numbers that make sense for your practice. And then by figure, it's literally not leaving any money on the table, being able to meet clients where they are in your pricing strategies. So if I've only got 2 figures to spend with you or with anyone, if I've got those 2 figures and I'm going to spend it, why not? Why not have that? Why not capture that money? Why leave that on the table? So having offers, products, or services at every figure level will help you to meet the client where they are. The same client, just different products and services at each figure. And that brings us to this week, where we have a catch-up week. So again, no new material will be released. However, I would like you to take the training survey. Please take the survey and be thoughtful, be intentional around what you want to put there, and be candid. I need to hear from you. I need to know what can be better. And when I hear that, then I can do something about it. And I welcome your feedback. So please help me be better in serving you. Complete that survey and let me know how your experience has been thus far in the training. All right, so that's it for me. Let me turn it to you and see what questions, comments, thoughts you're having as you engage and experience the training. Any thoughts, questions, or comments? And if not, I will give you back your time so you can reclaim your time. However, this session, these coaching sessions are for you, and this is your opportunity to have a safe space and ask any questions.
Morning, Dr. Reese. I wanted to just share more comment on just overall my experience with the program, and how it's helped shape me and my thinking about taking a leap into something entrepreneurial and less focused on one sole way of thinking as far as a job, going through the steps with being at a job and working under someone else. I feel like during this journey and during the coursework and just engagements that I had with you, I do feel that I'm learning to be a little bit more patient with the process. I have zipped through courses, not just courses at regards of how to build a business, but courses, period. And I believe with this course, I have learned the importance of the information is there, it's given, but also it's not meant to zip through. It's meant to also be developed and explored and researched and to the benefit of you. This is a different program for me because it's a program that is benefiting me. All the questions I have to come up and derive with an answer, whereas a lot of programs that I've done, the answer is given to me. And with a lot of the questions, like I was saying in the last session or last Friday, I was stumped on a lot of questions. I was stumped on a lot of questions because I never, one, encountered questions like that before. I was never forced to, I never was forced to stop and think and explore. So that stalled me in my traditional way of zipping through, which I believe is a good thing because I want to be intentional when working with people. So I can't just zip through working with people. So I also have to adopt and practice the flow that you've created, because it also gives me a reflection on how I work with my clients. I have to slow it down a little bit, be more in a space where I'm able to digest, take a minute, come back to it. You don't always have to have the answer right now. You might derive on it in a couple days. And I'm trying to be okay with that. Well, I'm not trying to, I am learning to be okay with it. Something else that I learned through our session, our one-on-one, was I had a game plan when I was meeting with you. I said, okay, well, I have to have at least 3 things that I want, like an agenda. I have to have something that I wanted to highlight. And then when it was time to come to speak with you, that was scrapped. That wasn't even the focal point. So here I am with that old way of thinking that I have of plan, 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 be ready, be ready, be ready. But sometimes conversations aren't like that. They organically morph into something else that is what you actually really needed. And I think that's where the intuition piece came in. And I'm learning through your course, there's a lot of intuition that is needed for me in order to complete the assignments in a way where I'm satisfied with the results. And that's something that I'm learning and I'm learning to like. I'm learning to be comfortable going into that space of intuition and trusting myself and understanding that there's a benefit to your intuition, because it's a different space because I'm used to operating and being told what to do and having these parameters. So I don't really need much intuition when there's all these barriers and guardrails. But now in this space of creating something and developing something, I'm learning that there's a lot of intuition that needs to be relied upon. So I would say that's my summary of, my experience thus far with the program.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I mean, you've touched on some really awesome points. And that is true feedback for me. So I appreciate it, because it's not until I ask and provide a forum for it to be shared that I understand your experience with this course and with this training. And it's really good to know that that's your experience, because there is a lot here. There's a lot of material, and 8 weeks seems long enough, but you realize 8 weeks is still not enough. And the intention is, again, not just showing up to get the material, but to create intention around spending time on your business. And for the past 6 weeks now, you've been doing that. You've been creating an hour of time minimum weekly on business development. And that is a training that you can take with you beyond the 8 weeks, because it's required. as entrepreneurs, this is part of the training as well, just training to create within your business. Like you said, it's a totally different mindset that we're adopting. No one is telling us what to do. And when no one is telling you what to do, you truly realize the freedom you have to do what you want, how you want, and when you want. But then you begin to create your own parameters so that you're not just out here not being productive. And then you come back to the discipline, you come back to the regiment, you come back to the structure, but it's one that you've created for yourself, not someone else creating it for you. And again, that's where lifestyle comes in. That's where the personal goals, the profit goals, the professional goals, because now with goals, we know how we should be spending our time. Without goals, you don't know how you should be spending your time. You're just kind of doing what you think you should be doing, but those goals help to focus us. And when you have focus, now you have a discipline around your daily activities. And that is where we make our money. We make our money through our discipline, because that becomes what we call income generating activities. And so I'm really excited for your journey. I'm very excited for um, what's going to come out of it. You know, every week we're learning more, we're engaging more, we're experiencing more. And some things are not easily articulated. I always said in this training, there are very clear results that I can articulate. And then there are results that are seemingly divine, and I can't always articulate them, but I know that my students, my trainees get them. Things start to happen, breakthroughs start to happen, opportunities start to come. And they're ones that you didn't go out there for. They're not of your own work. They are because you just showed up. And that's a lesson in itself. I began to understand that being positioned through my practice meant taking time to create something I believed in that would serve and be a benefit to others. That was a positioning. And when I positioned myself to do that, whether I was in idea stage, whether I was in very early development stage, whether I had worked with the client or not, I had positioned myself to start to put myself out there. And then, as some people would say, the universe conspired to give me all that I wanted. And things start to come to me like, I didn't work for that. And I don't know these people. And how did they find out about me? Like, things begin to come to me. And that is a part of this journey, that the more you put yourself out there, just in your own work, in your own time. In this time, this is putting yourself out there because you're being intentional with what you're doing and how you're doing it, and you're showing up for it. There is this energy that is created that will give to you because you're giving to it. So I am quite excited about those results just as much as I'm excited about the results I know you're going to get from this curriculum. So with that, I'll turn it back over and open the floor for general comments, questions, any coaching. We're halfway there. It's 30 minutes in. So if there's nothing more, we can hop off and you reclaim some of your time. Again, next week, let's just see what we'll be exploring next week, what's to come. So we have the pricing. So we'll talk pricing your products and services. And this goes a bit deeper compared to the first exercise you did around calculating your billable hours and what time is available to you. This is now, you have an offer, you have a product or service you want to share with the world. How do you price it? And how do you begin to create profit goals from that? so that you can understand, if I have 1 unit of this program, how many units do I need to sell to hit my profit goal? And that's what it's about. So that's going to be really cool and exciting to understand. It's almost like your product and service comes to life when we attach those numbers to it, and then we can put it out in the world to be tested, to let the market tell you what they think of that offer, and the market will tell you. And if it's not the price, it could be the messaging, or you could be marketing to the wrong people. So those are the 3 things to be mindful of. Sometimes it's the price, sometimes it's the messaging, and sometimes you're just not marketing to the right person for that offer. So I look forward to you diving into that. And then the last week, we're going to wrap up on the 8 steps to launch your financial coaching practice in your state and what that looks like. Really creating a practice on paper. And I found by the time you get there, you're really opening up so much for yourself, because you've trained your subconscious mind to say, hey, I have a practice. I have a business on paper. I'm registered with my state to do business. If an institutional client reached out to me, I'm registered with the state. I'm recognized as a formal business, even if I'm a sole proprietor. You get that EIN and you can begin to accept business more formally, right? And people take you more seriously when you have that in place. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to you engaging that part of the curriculum. And that's how we'll wrap up. So any last questions, thoughts, comments? If not, gonna hop off and give you your time back.
I have one question. So after the 8 weeks, how what does it look like in still being engaged with you? Any questions that we may have, or I don't know, like a group opportunity? Like, what does that look like in the future after the 8 weeks?
Great question. So you still have access to me via the WhatsApp group. I'm in
Okay.
there. I pop in there every now and again. You are literally like a lifetime member of this training. So at
Hmm.
any time you can hop in and out of this course. I mean, the modules, the
Hmm.
platform itself. And if you have questions, you can put them there. I'll get notified. So I'll be in
Mm-hmm.
that way as well.
Hmm.
And then just generally with email, I haven't opened up business coaching on a one-on-one, and I
Hmm.
probably won't. Um, I don't know. I shouldn't even say that because I'm not exactly sure. However, those are the ways that you can stay engaged, that you can stay in the know about the modules, the training, and
Hmm.
ask questions of me. And then,
Hmm.
of course, my email. So I'll be
Okay.
sending emails, and that there's more than likely that's where I'll be selling anything that
Hmm.
could be around coaching or group offers or more trainings to be a part of.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Well, I'm gonna let you get back your time and uh, use it as you choose, especially since it was somewhat unexpected to have this time. So have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and of course, any questions that come up, reach out to me via WhatsApp or in the training or via email. Until next Friday, see you soon.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.